are probably in no fit state to run this particular type of cognitive gauntlet. But at least you're a good jumper. So you got that. You got the jumping on your side.
So once we showed this to testers, just the types of ideas that we introduced them, and just the very well-paced linear way, the passage of time. Oh, this is strange. Oh, it's dangerous. Oh, I better get out of here. And the players totally understood that where they were, that they had to get out of there. They were motivated to get out of there, and they were entertained as well. So prototyping and testing and refocusing on how to achieve our goals worked out very successfully for this. And here. And of course, the tour guide and bad navigator is Wheatley, the personality sphere, voiced by Stephen Merchant. Wheatley ends up going through much of the game with the player, and he has quite a lot of purpose in the game. In the first game, GLaDOS, or the voice of GLaDOS, is with the player pretty much from the beginning to provide narrative and kind of fill them in on where they are and what's going on, and help guide them in their goals. But she's out of commission at the start of this game, so Wheatley is able to provide that narrative in her absence. So he helps get the player motivated towards their goal of escape. And he fills in the player on the story of what's happened since the last game, and also new players kind of get up to speed with what that situation is. He provides comedy, not because he's trying to be a comedian, but just because of his delusional perspective on everything. He provides pacing breaks from solving puzzles. He also provides access to different parts of the facility the player needs to get to by helping unlock doors and run elevators. Later on in the game, he provides challenges and obstacles to the player, and ultimately even helps the player escape.
Or does he?
So so Wheatley, to accomplish all of this, needs to be a very believable and enjoyable character. We definitely wanted an enhanced design to match the fidelity of the game. We wanted strong, clear expressions that the player could read. So our first tests were, we just had to prove that an eyeball could act. So we started out doing some tests with one of the personality cores from the original portal.
This is a really bad idea. We're in so much trouble. Put me down. Oh. Oh my God. Oh.
So you can see that a lot of life was expressed just by the head attitudes and the eye contact and the speed and amount of movement that this character is making. He didn't even have eyelids yet, and of course he has no mouth. We briefly talked about, did we want to try mechanically doing squash and stretch with him, but we realized that would get in the way of how his handles would work. And they were very effective as stand-ins for brows and cheeks, and they were a lot more important for his expression. So we realized we didn't need squash and stretch. Next, we wanted to explore the mechanical aspects of Wheatley. So various people did some tests exploring that.
Bloody hell, lady, have you lost your mind?
showing these around the team, we decided we wanted to avoid something that was too extreme and too difficult for players to relate to. The character needed to be understandable and appealing. The next thing we needed to check was ways for Wheatley to move around the environment. He needs to get to all areas of aperture science. Sometimes he needs to lead the player, or sometimes the player would need to bring him along to get to where they needed to go. We looked at some old animation tests for moving turrets in the first Portal game, as well as trying some tests with other types of locomotion.
No one gets in, no one gets in.
Wheatley crab.
What's this? I think I just got right in there. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, well, I guess you won't be doing that, will you? Flying in the air.
Now the walking turret idea for Portal 1, they decided not to go with, because just to make that game mechanic work best, it was good that the turrets were just staying in one place, looking in one direction. As far as walking or rolling Wheatleys in Portal 2, it just would have been so complicated to sort out the programming and the navigation to get him to move around when we wanted destruction and uneven surfaces and debris. And flying Wheatley would have been even more complicated. And trying to make all that happen, it wouldn't have added worthwhile value to Wheatley for what we wanted to accomplish with this specific game. If it was the Flying Wheatley game, it would be something else. But this game, we really had to focus our programming and level design resources on much more important things like the new gameplay mechanics that we wanted to introduce and the new environments we wanted to introduce. So in the end, we went with very efficient but still fun ways of getting Wheatley moving around, either being carried by the player or traveling along a ceiling rail